When Prabhupada heard that story, he says, just by saying the name of Krishna, she went back to Godhead. Because the mercy and association with a pure devotee is so powerful that even one very small time of association, 1/11th of a second, one will be benefited. Sadhu-saṅga, sādhu-saṅga, sarva-śāstre koi. Lava-mātra sādhu-saṅge sarva-siddhi hoy. This verse means that all the shastras, sarva-śāstre koi, are recommending the association of sadhu, saintly person. Lava-mātra sādhu-saṅge, that even if one associates just for a brief moment. In the purport, Prabhupada explains that lava-mātra means 1/11th of a second. Now, how much time is that? Very little. Even if one just sees a pure devotee. That's why Prabhupada used to say, even if they touch the book, even if they just appreciate just a little bit, they'll be eternally benefited. Without even realizing it, without even knowing the full benefit. Prabhupada used to often give the example. Just like if you come in touch with fire, whether you know it, whether you understand the potency of the fire, you will get burnt. All of us know, as children, or sometimes we know of children who approach a very hot stove or a fire without realizing what it is, like, oh, it burns. Yes. Similarly, the association of a pure devotee will act beneficially, even if somebody doesn't have the best of intentions. But if somebody is a little intelligent and fortunate, the real association is with these books. There was a story in Calcutta one time where a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, oh, Prabhupada, you're such a pure devotee, please give me your mercy. Prabhupada says, no, you give me your mercy. You go out and spread the message. If we read, just like Vishwakarma Prabhu is reading, every time we have one of these reading in sessions, we spend some time reading from the diary. Why? Why are we analyzing each and every word of these diaries? Because this instills in us an understanding of the great sacrifices and the determination and the amazing steadiness of Srila Prabhupada under the most dire circumstances in New York, in the Bowery, by himself, no help, no finances, no institution. And gradually, by his patience, by his devotion, by his amazing spiritual potency, he gradually started this movement. He initiated disciple, preached to devotees. I've often told my personal story how in 1967, I was in Montreal visiting with my parents. I may have been 15, 16 at the time. I was born in 1951, so somebody can calculate in November. So what happened is there was an exhibit. This is related to that verse I was citing from Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is an exhibit at the India Pavilion. The government of India had set up a pavilion like all these different countries. And one of the main attractions was Srila Prabhupada chanting in public in the summer with his disciples. Prabhupada is chanting, they're having kirtan, he's leading the kirtan. So my parents were watching for a little bit, and I was watching this just totally fascinated, like, what is this? What is this? And at one point during the kirtan, Prabhupada looked at me for a split seconds. And it was as though that Prabhupada was saying, you've come to the right place, just listen. And then my parent yanked me away. So I escaped again and came back to the kirtan, was listening. So this was a very, very brief time. And next week in the local newspaper in Quebec City, there was a full-page picture of Srila Prabhupada. Every weekend, they would have a feature on different social events, whether it was music events or fairs. So they had this big picture of Prabhupada chanting with his disciples that had taken place in Montreal, advertising the Indian Swami. So I took that picture and put it on the wall along with other pictures because I was do yoga every day. But I didn't realize who this person really was. I just thought this is really cool. This is the Swami from Montreal. I even had a picture of Lord Chaitanya on the wall. I didn't know who he was, what it was. It was the dancing, a picture of Vishnu on the wall, a picture of the universal form, along with so many other pictures. I didn't understand what it was because at the time, I was studying the four Vedas in French that had been translated by a Sanskrit academy in Paris, France, in French. But I couldn't figure out what they're talking about. So 2 years later, I ended up going to Montreal and met the devotees. But I always remembered that kirtan, which that split second, this is what I understood the meaning of that when I read Prabhupada's purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So 1/11 of a second is sufficient for one to reach perfection. So anyone who comes in touch with Srila Prabhupada and gets his books. Now, why do we emphasize the original books? We're here with this program, what Vishakar and myself, we're trying to promote pure cow milk. In other words, the pure, original, unabridged, non-interpolated, non-adulterated, original first edition books.